This is the first time I've been game hunting in Columbia, Missouri since the fall of 2019. I'm gonna hit some thrift stores, a few game shops if I can, and I'm gonna see what I can get. Now, this is something that I was a little leery about, and I'm trying to be as precautious as possible, but I was in the area, so why not take advantage of this time? And we're gonna see what I get. I'm also gonna take a little tour of a newer arcade. So that'll be a separate video. You guys can look forward to that. And let's see what I get. Thanks for watching. All right, to start the game hunting adventure, some sports games. Yay. I always look in this case first, and there's an odd little keyboard typewriter thing. I see these things all the time in thrift stores. They're useless to me. I don't know. They might be worth some money though. An area where I spend a lot of my time in thrift stores, the media section. There's a lot of CDs, a lot of movies, and some video games. This particular Salvation Army, they're hit or miss. Now, back in the day, this place was a gold mine, but I'm sure people come here almost every single day and pick it clean. I come here maybe once a month if I'm lucky. Now, there's some games here and there that I'm going to pick up. And from time to time, I do pick up some movies. I don't collect movies or Blu-ray. I collect enough stuff as it is. Now, when I do buy a Blu-ray or DVD, usually I watch it and then I trade it in to somewhere like Grumpy Bob's, for example, and get some more video games, because why not? This particular Salvation Army, they always have a ton of sports games. Now, I have looked out in the past. I found some Sega CD games here before, and I always have my fingers crossed every time I look through this section, hoping I can get another Sega CD game. When you guys go looking for video games in thrift stores, do you pick up movies or Blu-ray? Let me know in the comments below. What are some other things that you like to collect at thrift stores too? Do you remember the episode on The Office with Andy? On this edition of the Pandemic Cup Chasers, here's a really cool episode 1 calendar. I have no use for it. I actually looked through it to see if there's anything cool I could salvage from it, put on the wall, and really there's not much to be had here. Still pretty cool though. If you like episode 1, there's a lot of cheap things that you can collect and find to this day. I bought this book just to help out capitalism. Goosebump books. Man, this is something I've been collecting off and on all of my life, and I'm so glad that I added this set to my collection. It is so cool. Forgot to tell you guys, I was at Salvation Army, a thrift store. I've come here numerous times, and I've had numerous scores. This is what I ended up getting. So, yeah, I got this basically for my classroom. I teach social studies, and I'm talking about this all the time. So this is going to be more like a prop than anything. And I have read this once or twice in my life. And yeah, heavy reading there. I picked up a few movies, The Perfect Score, and the funny thing about this, it has Captain America and then also Black Widow. This is before they were like really famous, and a really good movie. I got Batman Arkham City on Xbox 360. The Life Aquatic. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite Bill Murray movies of all time. It's quirky, but it's really good. And I have no idea why I bought this. I really don't. The Black Eyed Peas Experience. And I'll probably never play this, but why not? And then this is the score for me. Goosebumps Monster Edition. This has 3 books. It has Stay Out of the Basement, Welcome to Dead House, and Say Cheese and Die. Here's that arcade I was talking about. I'm going to do a separate video. You guys can check it out on my channel. And I'm going to go to the Columbia Mall as well. There's a GameStop and a couple other game stores there. Checking out GameStop. And it looks like they have a limit on how many can be in the store. When I go into a GameStop, there's 3 things I usually look for. Amiibos, and I usually don't buy a whole lot of Amiibos anymore. Switch games, and cheap PlayStation 4 titles. Now, I've noticed that it's been hit or miss for GameStop here lately with the pandemic. Things have been really slow with the economy. Things have been really slow in general. But lately, I've seen an uptick in used Switch titles. And I'm actually going to pick up a pretty good title here you guys are going to see. And I was actually pretty impressed with their selection of Switch titles. Now, of course, their prices are going to be full retail, but you can still find a deal or two at GameStop. It's worth your time going into those stores. This is what I ended up getting. Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, and then Helmut on the PlayStation 4. I love retro style video games, so I had to get it for that price. We're at V-Stock, and yeah, we're gonna see what's inside. I go into V-Stock for one purpose alone. I want to catch them slipping. Now, their inventory, it is hit or miss. They usually have a bunch of crappy titles that either I already own or I don't want to add to my collection. Their prices are astronomically high. I don't understand how they get by with those prices. Now, I do go to their PlayStation 1 section quite often, and I find some cheap titles that I add to my collection, some titles that I've never really heard of, and they're really not that popular or worth that much. But from time to time, I'll add a PlayStation 1 game to my collection from V-Stock. Now, I've never seen this before, a keyboard for the Wii. It's wireless, but it's not $24 cool. Here's their collector's case, and I probably should have bought that Alundra. It's going for $60 there, and I could have flipped it easily for $100 or $120. I always double check their Switch collection just to make sure I'm not missing any deals, but normally I find my deals on Switch titles at GameStops. But you gotta check every single time. If you're going to the mall, might as well look and browse through the Switch titles. Now, this is their vintage retro corner, if you will. Super Nintendo, Sega Game Gear. There's also some Dreamcast games. These are your budget titles, your sports games, games that are in everyone's collection. Now, from time to time, you will find a title you don't have here. When I first started collecting, I would come here all the time to this little section and find all kinds of games to add to my collection. There are some NES titles here, but again, it's games that everyone has or they just don't need them. So I'm going to show you guys what I got out of Vintage Stock, and they had a pretty good deal going on for $30 if it was $9.99. They had some other prices too, but I wanted to focus on the $9.99 games. And I think I did pretty good. I got Real Fishing Wild. This is a Dreamcast game. And slowly but surely adding to my Dreamcast collection. I do have that fishing controller that it's saying is required. Now this is just going to go in the big, huge sale tub that I have of games, and it was a really clean cartridge. Akari Warriors on the NES, and then Xiaolin Showdown. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I never see this title, or I just haven't noticed it before. It looks like a fun little, action platformer with some beat 'em up elements. Have you guys played this? Let me know in the comments if you played it. The guy who checked me out said it's based off of a cartoon, and I had no idea. So this came out in 2006, and by that time I wasn't watching Saturday morning cartoons, so makes sense. It looks interesting though. And then just adding to the GameCube collection, didn't have this one, Trans World Surfer Next Wave. This looks like a pretty fun little title though. I'm sure it's absolute garbage. The ultimate and gnarly action. Okay, and it looks like a total, 2000s. Well, this came out in 2002, 2003. This looks like an early 2000s sports game for sure. One more stop. I'm going to go to Family Pond. I usually get some really good deals here, and I find some decent games. So let's see what I get. I usually find a lot of good titles at this pawn shop, and normally at some really, really good prices, especially their GameCube titles, their PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 titles. I get a lot of great deals here. I am so jealous of this World of Nintendo sign. I would love to have that in the collection. Now, they didn't have a very good selection this time around. I think the pandemic has affected their stock quite a bit. It's a hot day. I'll show you guys what I got out of Family Pond. I'm going to have to look up the price of this. I don't have it on the GameCube. I have it on the, I think, PlayStation 2 or Xbox. BMX Triple X. I'm not going to play this game. I don't recommend this game. It's garbage. Trailer trash garbage. And then this was more of a necessity than anything, and it's in really good shape. It looks pretty new too. A PlayStation 4 controller. I paid $40 for it. It's used, and it looks relatively new. I don't have this color, so that's a bonus, I guess. And it should work. I mean, there's still a charge on it. Yeah. And then the last game I picked up, and this is to complete my Kobe Bryant collection. I want this game complete in box, okay? NBA 3-on-3 Kobe Bryant. And I'm going to try to go out of my way to track down every single Kobe Bryant game that I can find. And yeah, I have both of the courtside games on the Nintendo 64 complete in box. And I actually bought those a long time ago because I am a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Always have been, always will be. And yeah. All right. Also checking out some flea markets in Centralia, Missouri. This is F&L Flea Market. And then there's another one we're going to look at too. If you're retro video game hunting, you have to go to a flea market or two. I have found some good deals here and there at flea markets, but normally it's going to be hit or miss. Now you're going to find a lot of random junk like these baseball cards. And if you like collecting other things than video games, then go to flea markets. They did have a selection of Xbox 360 titles. And yeah, I picked up a few. You guys will see. And there's going to be a lot of random scattered crap here. Barry Manilow. And then all around this flea market, you're going to find just strange, random video game accessories. And you have no idea why they're in that particular booth. And of course, when you go to a flea market, you gotta look at the VHS titles. Now, I try to stay away from VHS titles as much as I can because my thrift store, they have really good deals on VHS tapes. And usually when you go to a flea market, they're going to charge a premium for VHS tapes. There's going to be a lot of strange things you guys are going to see in this little montage. There's Woody, there's going to be a Millennium Falcon, and then I found this really strange photo. I have no idea what it is. It looks like it's a bunch of girls from a college. I'm not sure. Or they could be gypsies. My last stop, this is another flea market. I come here quite often, and we're going to see what I can find. Now at this particular flea market, this is where I found some Sega Saturn games, a Sega Saturn, a 32X. I also found some Atari vintage computers, and every time I go into this place, I am just hoping for another score. And there's a Shack Attack card. Man, I loved Shack as a kid. Now here are some really strange comic books. They're like off-brand almost, or comics you've never heard of, not popular. I never heard of half of these, and I don't know why anyone would want to collect any of these comic books for real. I think this just caught my eye because of how vintage it looked. I think it's from the 1970s, but it's pretty cool. And it has some VHS tapes. Oh man, I love looking at VHS tapes in flea markets. Now this was pretty cool. This is actually a Coleco talking teacher. Now I would never purchase this, but it's odd to see that it's Coleco. Some random Pokemon books. I almost picked them up, but they're too new. That Pokemon, the movie 2000 is pretty neat, but I might even have it in the collection. What the heck is this? And this is the only video game I found in that flea market. Man, this flea market is tapped out. Didn't get much out of those flea markets, but they've been tapped out for a long time. So I got Sacred 2. This was $2. Each of these were $2. Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell. Don't have that. And then I'm going to have to double check to see if I have this version or not. Injustice, Gods Among Us, the Ultimate Edition. So yeah, not bad. $2 a piece. I couldn't pass them up. I could have bought a lot more, but I spent a lot of money today already. So that's my little adventure that I had today in Columbia, Missouri. So why not try to game hunt? I did have to wear a face mask pretty much everywhere that I went, and that's okay. Columbia is actually getting ready to go under a face mask ordinance in a day or so, the time of this filming. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of my pickups. I kind of went for quality versus quantity, and really when I go into a retail store, you know, what am I going to expect? I know I'm going to pay a little bit more, but when I go into a thrift store, I know I'm going to, you know, get a few deals here and there. And right now, I'm sure people are afraid to donate to thrift stores, or they're just not thinking about that right now. I know in my hometown, my thrift store, they are not accepting donations right now. So it's going to be kind of slow for me in that department. Pawn shops, though, they're still pretty hopping. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. And hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to me. I do all kinds of retro video game hunting videos, retro video game videos. I cover all kinds of things in the retro video game realm, if you will. And you guys can follow me on Facebook at Retro Tony. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.